All right, welcome to the Fun Astrology podcast. We're going to be talking about the weather for Friday, March 29th, and there is some really big news for today that is super important in the skies, and that is that Mercury is no longer in retrograde. Had the last 3 weeks been just a little bit difficult for you? Yeah, well, that's because Mercury has been going back asswards in the sky, at least it seems like it is, and that's been causing a lot of havoc, like for a lot of people. The first day of Mercury retrograde 3 weeks ago, I woke up and could not access any of my websites. That has never happened, and I was doing a post the last thing before I went to bed. And I'm like, oh, geez, is this going to be nuts? And then the weekend after was, of course, the shooting in New Zealand, the tragedy down there. And the Astrology King blog even had a prediction that this was going to be an extra punchy Mercury retrograde. So if you've had wonky stuff going on with your electronics, if you've been feeling a little bit off, well, that's going to start relieving because it has been a house of pain. There's absolutely no doubt. It's been crazy. Okay, couple of other things for today. I thought that since this was kind of the first episode of these daily updates, these daily weather updates, that we could talk about what's globally going on in the sky for 2019. Because there are two patterns that are really the big deal for this year. They are such a big deal that they've been overshadowing everything else. So these two are center stage. Of course, if you're into astrology, you already know. Jupiter is in its home sign of Sagittarius. Yes, that's another very good thing. But then there's another overshadowing alignment that's been going on and will be going on all year that everybody has their eyes on. And that's the one that will culminate in January of 2020. Saturn and Pluto are in Capricorn, and Saturn and Pluto will be sitting on top of each other in January of next year. And that is what has everybody absolutely, completely shaken up. I told you this was going to be unconventional. People don't do astrology like this, but they should. So let's break those two apart, and that'll be enough for today. So Jupiter in Sagittarius. Well, Jupiter is the planet of expansion. You could call it your cosmic rabbit's foot. I mean, if you're starting a new project, if you're starting a new relationship, all is well. The birds are chirping, the sky is blue, the temperature is perfect. God, the birds just stopped there. I'll have to get some longer birds. Anyway, that's what Jupiter in Sagittarius is like. All is well. It's expanding. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. And Jupiter takes about a year to go through a sign. So from last fall until this fall, we've got Jupiter in Sag, baby. Now, it too is going to go retrograde in the middle of April, and we'll talk about that more as it gets closer. That's only about 2 weeks away, not even. And when that happens, we'll talk about what that means. But basically, if you're working on something that you want to expand this year, mash the gas. Now, we've got this other thing going on. We've got a thunderstorm on the horizon, and that is playing out right now. And these are two very slow-moving entities. You got Saturn and Pluto. Pluto is the slowest, obviously farthest out. Saturn is right on its tail, moving in its direction. They will cross, they will catch up to each other and be what they call conjunct, in other words, sitting on top of each other. And that will be in January of 2020. So you have, in essence, the cosmic wrecking ball, if you will. That's Pluto. Pluto is the thing that will tear down in order to build back up. It's like the wrecking ball. Oh no, I've been hit by the wrecking ball again. And that's what it feels like, because it will tear down what's not working in your life so that it can build up what your soul has intended for you in this incarnation. Saturn is like the disciplinarian. It's the one that's going to keep you on track. Everybody paints Saturn as such a dark entity and so negative. I've got a lot of Saturn in my life, and I'm almost 60 years old. And as I look back over the decades, I can see exactly what Saturn has been doing. because when I've not been on my soul's alignment, Saturn is right there. What's it like? Ow! But that's only if you're not in alignment. If you stay in alignment, or you are conscious, you know what your soul path is, and that's all in your chart, then Saturn will just, like a kind father, will just kind of help keep you on track. But unlike a good father, Saturn will do it whether you ask or not. I've talked a lot more about Saturn on my other podcast, which is Subconscious Mind Mastery. So if you'd like to know more about that, go to the website, subconsciousmindmastery.com. There's a search box over on the right-hand side. Just put in Saturn, and you'll see a couple of podcasts related to that. On a timeline, they've been more like in the last 6 to 9 months. So you could just listen to some of the more recent ones. Okay, there's one other thing. This one's a little longer than we're normally going to do because I just wanted to cover that global thing. But also the moon this weekend will be moving into Aquarius. And we will talk about what that means tomorrow because it will be in the thick of it. It's coming out of Pisces today. So I will have tomorrow's podcast up at 4 a.m. Central Time, and you'll have it be ready. And we'll talk about the moon in Aquarius. Hey, thanks for listening. This is going to be fun. I'm going to enjoy doing this and just making astrology fun and easy to listen to. So go out there and make it a great day. Set intentions. Enjoy the energy of Mercury being out of retrograde and have a great day.